necessity for cooperation and speed has turned this huge air dock into an airplane parts factory. With the experience their craftsmen have had in the fabrication of light alloy parts for dirigibles, they turn their specialized training to the production of tail surfaces, ailerons, and rudders for fighting planes.
As the Second World War started, the United States realized that air power was going to be critical to winning the war. Any company that had production capability and space available was allocated aircraft production. Goodyear got into the aircraft production business actually long before the Second World War with the airships, all of which had aluminum structure. So Goodyear had experience working with light alloys, and that put them head and shoulders above a lot of other companies that were interested in doing aircraft work. They began getting contracts from aircraft manufacturers such as Curtiss to produce the tailplanes for the P-40, the Lockheed P-38 Lightning, a considerable portion of the Boeing B-29 Superfortress. Goodyear was a very well-run, very well-managed company. They did everything extremely well, and for that reason, other manufacturers kept coming to Goodyear saying, hey, can you help us out? The Chance Vought Corporation, which designed the Corsair, was desperate for production capability and contracted with Goodyear to produce Corsairs under license because the need was immediate, and Goodyear met the needs. Basically, our F2G-1D Corsair, F for fighter, G for Goodyear, the manufacturer, is equivalent to the Vought F4U-1D. The United States Navy, and even more so the Marine Corps, needed a fighter that was optimized for low-altitude performance to serve as close air support. Chance Vought was interested. However, by the time this came out in 1943, Chance Vought was just maxed out building Corsairs. And so they needed to find someone else who could develop this so-called super Corsair, and that's how Goodyear got into the act. It was decided to use an existing airframe, in this case the Corsair, simply to save time. The Pratt & Whitney R4360 replaced the Pratt & Whitney R2800. The most visible difference was the bubble top canopy. The F2Gs also needed the auxiliary rudder beneath the standard rudder, an ingenious system devised entirely by Goodyear to counteract the huge amount of torque that the engine would generate at low speeds on a go-around or a wave-off for a carrier. Those would be the main visible differences. On March 22nd of 1944, the Bureau of Aeronautics signed a contract with the Goodyear Aircraft Corporation for 418 F2G-1s. In May of 1945, immediately after VE Day, that contract was canceled and reduced to only 10 aircraft. Some were assigned to tactical tests, some were assigned to flight tests, but they were all in test at one location or another, and they were tested very thoroughly. It was an exciting airplane to fly. The test pilots were anxious to get their hands on it. It's a good aircraft, but even the F-8F Bearcat had its career cut short by the arrival of the jet. Everybody wanted to get their hands on jets, and so if it had a propeller, its days were numbered.
To me, it just epitomizes World War II aircraft development. 9.5 out of 10 people that come to the museum look at it and they think they're just seeing a Corsair. It doesn't register with them the obvious visual differences being in the length of the nose cowlings, the bubble canopy, sort of a P-47 type bubble canopy, the grafting of the WASP Major 4360 onto the front of the aircraft, the 14-foot diameter four-bladed propeller to absorb all of that massive 3,000 horsepower, 28 cylinders, 56 spark plugs. It's just a massive development of piston engines, made it to what was already a beautiful and effective airframe. By the time they could produce them, the war was winding down and it was over. So it left these the only 10 ever built.
The Thompson Trophy race, the last on the program, has built a reputation as the wildest, toughest closed-course competition on both men and machines in the field of air racing.
By the end of World War II, there were so many war surplus aircraft available, you could simply buy them from the military as surplus. By the time of the 1947 Thompson Trophy race, there were 4 F2Gs entered. In 1949, Cook Cleland had decided he was going to remove some 4.5 feet from the wingtips of his F2G. He had to add plates to the truncated wings just to restore some degree of stability. Dick Becker qualified on the pole in the qualifying heat that year at a breathtaking speed of, I think it was about 415 miles per hour. Another F2G flown by Ben McKillen joined the field along with Ron Puckett. And they finished 1, 2, 3. The F2G did not participate in the Second World War, though it did succeed extremely well in air racing, which is not surprising considering that it was designed for maximum performance at low altitude. Whereas the other aircraft, such as the P-51, F-8Fs, Sea Furies, and so forth, were designed for optimum performance at much higher altitudes. So the Corsair was in its element, fly low, turn left.